We talk a lot on this channel on how to heal your back pain, but an equally important topic is how to make your back pain worse. What if you wanted to completely mess up your back and multiply whatever pain you're feeling right now? You really should be aware of the things that will make your back pain worse. The irony here is some of these things will be recommended by your doctor actually, and a lot of them will be recommended by geniuses on the internet, and some of them you will inevitably figure out and develop on your own, especially if you're a resourceful individual like myself, for example. So in this video, we're gonna see the 6 ways in which you can make your back pain worse. And make sure to stick around until the end, because the last thing is something that a lot of doctors actually recommend, and it can often be misinterpreted and misused, and it can cause you a lot of extra misery that you don't need to go through. Number 1, overrest and oversleep. This was actually recommended to me by my doctor. Maybe not in those exact words, but they told me you should be very mindful with your rest. You should rest a lot. This was even something I heard on the first visit to my doctor, and I tried to listen to it. I became very inactive. I became kind of stuck in my bed, if I'm being honest. And this backfired spectacularly. Now this one is actually tricky. So it's kind of like a half truth. It doesn't mean that you should immediately become hyperactive after an injury. That's actually the last thing you should do. But doctors tend to overplay it on the safe side by recommending you spend a lot of time in your bed resting, sleeping. And there is some value in that. You should do that. But typically, in most cases, I can't see that being valuable if you do it for longer than 2 weeks. And if I'm being honest, probably 1 week is the maximum for most people and for most injuries. If you've recently hurt your back, maybe yesterday or maybe within the last week, yeah, take a week or two to rest. Maybe even up to a month for some people, I guess that can be valuable, especially if you tend to heal slower. But after that, rest is something that you will sparingly do. You don't want to do many more than you need to. In fact, you should do the opposite. You should get back to strengthening your body, building up the tissues that maybe got injured, that were weak before the injury. You want to build your body into something that's resilient, and rest is not the way to go there. The next thing that's also kind of bad for back pain is yoga. After I injured my back, a lot of people on the internet were saying how yoga is very good for their back pain. Obviously, I decided to give this a shot, and this one also backfired spectacularly. I actually tried it for a few times, a few different videos, a few different teachers, a few different styles of yoga even. Every time, without exception, what happened was I felt worse during the exercise, and I felt even worse after the exercise. Now, caveats, a lot of caveats here. For some people, this may prove to be beneficial. It doesn't seem like this is a one-size-fits-all solution. Maybe it's gonna work for you. I'm not even against you trying it. But don't be surprised if yoga makes your back pain worse. I think that's actually the case for a lot of people, especially if you're kind of still in this inflamed state, your injury is maybe recent. Definitely don't do yoga if you've had a major back pain injury. I would say in the last 3 or even 6 months, if you want to play it safe. It seems like yoga can activate these pain signals quite potently, if I'm being honest. The pain after yoga for me was, meaningfully increased. And keep in mind, I was still in a lot of pain when I first tried it. So don't be too scared if you want to give it a shot, but at the same time, don't expect a lot and be prepared for some extra pain. And full disclosure, in the last 2 years, after my back stopped hurting completely, I'm pretty much healed at this from that point onwards, I kind of do yoga semi-regularly when I'm not lazy, when I feel like doing it. It feels great. I think yoga is actually a really good prevention measure for back pain. So if somehow you're watching this video before you have back pain, I don't know why anyone would do that, but if you're that person, yoga can be it can really protect your entire body from injuries, I believe. Definitely a really good idea. And if you've kind of healed a lot, maybe you're not in that much pain, I think yoga can be a good, a really good technique to try. But if you're still often in pain, and if you're still the injury is recent, I wouldn't expect a lot from yoga. I would actually be very careful if I even try it at all. Next one, staying in the Eastern tradition, is meditation. So this one also sounded like a good idea. I kind of dabbled with it before my back injury, so I wasn't exactly like a complete novice with this technique. I think meditation is also like a mixed bag, because this is another thing that I now do after I healed. Like, I do it frequently. I'm not exactly like one of these people who thinks like you're gonna become a multi-dimensional like super being if you meditate. I do see some benefits. I feel better, I feel calmer, but other than that, like, it's not like a magical cure. And when I was going through a severe like back pain attacks, meditation made things like terrible for me. To be fair, maybe I didn't know exactly how to do it, but I tried it a lot of times. I tried a lot of different things. I tried like mindfulness, transcendental, like pretty much all of the major techniques. I gave them a shot. Almost every time, without exception, my back felt worse when I did it. It's like, you try to meditate and you're trying to like uh, kind of narrow your focus and stay focused, but the pain in your body is so distracting that your focus kind of goes there without you even like trying. You're focusing on your pain, and that like amplifies it. So it's really crazy. I'm not even sure like I would recommend anyone do it. It's pretty harmless, to be fair. Like, maybe you're gonna feel the pain more intensely for a few minutes while you meditate, but after that, probably there's not gonna be any consequences. So if you're curious, if you think like, yeah, this might work, I can see this working, fair enough, like, give it a shot. I don't think you're gonna like make things worse. But again, I wouldn't hold my breath here. This didn't work for me during my worst back pain days. Now it's pretty good. I see a lot of benefit. I like doing it. I don't always do it. I can't even get bored. I don't always have the time. If someone is really, really good at this, like if you're a super experienced meditator, I think some people may even be able to use this as the perfect tool. Because honestly, like, the things that worked for me the best, like the last thing that worked for me the best, which was kind of like more along the veins of release work and journaling and like being present about and mindful and processing. It's not that far removed from meditation when you think about it. If some people are like really skilled in this, I can totally see like if some really good meditator tells me one day like, I know how to meditate for back pain and I can like completely heal myself whenever I please. And I actually wouldn't be surprised if that can be the case. Next thing to make your back pain worse is posture devices. They honestly look like kind of like bras. This was recommended to me by my physiotherapist. This actually may be like a good solution for other types of injuries that require physiotherapy and orthopedician visits. For me, this not only didn't it not work, but kind of made me feel worse. Kind of felt good for the first minute I tried it on, and then it kind of started to making me feel worse. And I don't know, maybe it's gonna work for some people. Some physiotherapists and orthopedicians might recommend it. For me, it didn't do the trick. It actually kind of made things worse a little bit. Number 5 way to increase your back pain is actually ice or cold baths. It's supposed to reduce inflammation. That's usually a good thing for managing and reducing back pain. I remember the first time I tried ice bath while I was having like strong back pain still. I started to shiver, I started to shake. All of the muscles in my body and my core started to tense. My back pain even skyrocketed while doing that. I didn't feel better at all. I don't think it had any good effect even after the shower. So this one didn't work for me. Should you try it? Honestly, you can try all of these things I mentioned so far. I don't think they're necessarily harmful, but I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of increase the pain temporarily, and don't expect a lot from them long term. I don't recommend trying cold showers, honestly, and like some sort of cold therapy. And the last way to make your back pain worse, and this is absolutely the most vicious one, and probably I would say the only one you should be actively avoiding and being very careful of not to fall into this trap, is to be super careful. This was recommended to me by pretty much all of the doctors I talked to, a lot of experts on the internet as well. And I guess it kind of relates to the first point I made about resting and sleeping. But on top of that, you add like You gotta be very careful how you move. You cannot like lift heavy things. You gotta use your body in like very constricted, rigid ways. This actually probably like added years to my healing process. I'm sure this was like the worst idea I tried, because it kind of primes your body. It guides it to being like weak. You're not using your body, so it loses like strength, obviously. But it also instills like the fear of God in you. It's like you cannot move. You gotta be really careful. That's like your little fragile back is gonna get injured once again. That's the worst thing you can do. You cannot be fearful. You gotta move freely. You gotta learn how to be powerful in your body again. You're probably gonna develop a lot of body awareness through this entire like pain journey. Whether you want it or not, you're gonna learn how like what movements feel good when you're like overexerting yourself, like when you're pushing it too much. But that's gonna kind of develop naturally, and that will prevent further injuries. But that's very different from constantly thinking about every single movement you're doing. That's not the way to go, my friends. So your doctor, they're probably gonna mean well, and they're gonna recommend you be very careful with your movements, especially with lifting things or doing like sudden movements, like power movements, things of that sort. Maybe consider listening to their advice for a week or 2 weeks, maybe a month maximum. After that, try to forget about this advice completely. Get back into your body, get back into the gym or whatever like sport or activity you're doing. Get strong again. That's really super important. One of the three major pillars of healing back pain. And speaking of that, the other important things you should do about healing back pain, a relevant video should appear somewhere right about now. Definitely go check that out. My name is Mate from Real Deal Heal. Thanks for watching. Like this video if you like this video. Subscribe and hit the bell thingy if you're struggling with back pain, because you're gonna get a lot of value from my content here. Comments and questions, go in the comment section. I try to answer all of them. I have a free book. I don't know, maybe I mentioned that in the video before. I usually do. In case I forgot, it's a completely free book. Go check it out. No reason not to. I talk a lot about my experience, what I tried, what I didn't try, what worked, what didn't work, and you're gonna see like how you can develop a custom tailored plan for your needs and your life specifically. I also have a course on back pain. You should definitely check that out as well if you want more intense, more precise strategy on healing your back. Pretty much fail-proof, I would say, but hey, I cannot say that. Almost fail-proof, let's just say. It's gonna definitely be helpful. You can also schedule a free consultation call with me if you want more personal guidance from me, if you want me in your corner during the whole time. I want to help you as much as I can. I try to provide a lot of free resources and free stuff for you to heal. So if you want to like keep binging on my videos, I think another like cool video should appear somewhere around the top here. And definitely check that out. I'll see you there. Until next time, be brave.